Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Lead Squared webinar. I am Shivani and I work for the marketing team at Lead Squared. So we have a very exciting topic today, more so because of all the buzz around the internet at the moment. We are discussing increasing conversion rates with omni-channel engagement and AI. I have a stellar speaker set here with me today who are going to take us through the session with plenty of experience. So you might want to start putting in all the questions you have for the speakers. I also did see actually about 30 questions or so that came in earlier, and please bear with us, we cannot answer all of them during the live session, but you will certainly hear from us post this session with a detailed response to your question. So before I get to the speakers, I'd like to just point out some of the areas that we will cover today. We will of course talk about seamless cross-channel integrations. We will talk about tailoring your communication to meet the right audience in via the channel that they prefer. And we will of course talk about AI. That's the buzzword I think for the last couple of days. So we will talk about AI and automation. So to take us through the session, we have Mr. Shivam Verma, who is the co-founder and CTO of Chat360, which is a conversational AI chatbot builder. And we have very own Pranay from Lead Squared. He is the VP of Key Accounts, and Lead Squared, of course, is an omni-channel marketing automation and CRM platform. So with that, I think Pranay and Shivam, I'm not going to hold you back. Please take it ahead and share all your learnings and expertise with our audience.
Shivani, thank you so much for that introduction and setting the context. Shivam, it's a real pleasure sharing the platform with you. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Really look forward to this conversation. A quick and short introduction. Almost spent 19 years in the software and the SaaS industry now, primarily both on the consulting side and the business side of it, primarily sales and account management and client relationship, etc. Really looking forward to have this conversation. I think we have some interesting topic to cover today. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much, Pranay, for inviting me to the session. I feel humbled and obliged in order to attend the session. A quick journey about myself. So I've been a techie throughout my career. I've been developing products from scratch, building them up, scaling them up. At Chat360, we've been working with a lot of good problem statements with the cutting edge technology out there, working on native LLMs. And I'm sure that topic is definitely very interesting to talk about. So I think we can definitely, without any further ado, we can go on and start the conversation, and let's take the questions ahead.
Awesome, Shivam. Thank you so much for that. So, as Shivani said, the context, there is a lot of focus these days, primarily from the end users in terms of our clients, and also us as users of various systems, right, in our day-to-day lives. There is a lot of talk and discussion around how omnichannel platforms can help a user per se, or as a service provider or a software provider. What do we bring onto the plate for these clients? Typically talking about integrating various channels to create a seamless customer experience, right? What are your thoughts? What could be these channels, with respect to the companies, etc.?
Absolutely. So I think in today's world and scenario, omni-channel strategy is definitely a must-have checkmark in almost every business's checklist, I would say, for marketing and sales and customer engagement. The reason being that is that because with the advancements out there, with the technological advancements out there, customer behavior changing with respect to the technological advancements out there, businesses need to identify first and foremost what exactly is the customer behaving like, right? So businesses need to identify that. They need to see what exactly is the customer journey looking like, the channels that these customers are primarily basis the geography or the type of the business or the nature of the businesses. So for example, one of our marquee clients, Kaya Middle East, essentially uses pushes all the information, for example, in-store purchases, whatever they're doing, pushes to the CRM on the backend side, and then they use Chat360 in order to push out notifications which are personalized and recommended based upon the previous history or the purchases of the customer to the customer, right? The second bit is, of course, the second example that I would like to pick up is essentially from Audi India, which basically uses and picks up the customer's journey or the interest on the website, and then uses those interests and sends out the notifications to them at the right time on the mobile application, be it SMS, be it WhatsApp, or a push mobile notification as well. So I think Definitely, the channels, whatever channels customers are engaged on, be it WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. At Chat 360, we essentially have been providing an omni-channel suite to the customers, to the businesses, in order to make sure that there's a single standalone solution that can be used in order to converse with the prospects and the customers across different channels and engage with the customers as well. So that's what I think on this question.
Pretty interesting inputs on that. So I think we at LeadSquid are also seeing a lot of traction from our existing clients where they want to engage not only with the potential clients, whether they convert into a client or not, but also once somebody has converted into a client in terms of a singular channel of communication to the client, making it more convenient and easier for them, right? So makes a lot of sense, having an omni-channel communication bar, with these, either the prospects or the leads or your existing client, because I think a lot of clients, our clients, for example, today are seeking to keep the continuity with their partners, be it a vendor or a service provider, in terms of the longevity of the engagement. So makes a lot of sense. Now, just a by question to that is, personalization seems to be a buzzword kind of a thing in the market today. The bigger question is, how do you strike the right balance between personalized communication and what about the privacy when it comes to this? Would you have any experiences to share with us specific to these?
Yeah. So, of course, I think you're correct on that one, Pranay. So personalization is definitely a buzzword these days, right? But I think the important aspect over here is essentially ensuring that you maintain ethics with the customers, because that essentially helps us building the trust with the customers, most importantly, right? And till the time you do not do it, the longevity of the customer stickiness with you definitely decreases, right? The customers definitely need to trust as a business to you in order to ensure that they are purchasing the products from you, they stick around with you for the longer period of time. They provide feedback for you in order to grow the business as well, right? So I think, however, there are a few scenarios which I think probably should be ensured by businesses in order to ensure that personalization is taken care of, right? So one, first and foremost, essentially would be data minimization. So I think you should minimize upon the data that you're capturing from the customers, right? Now, for example, probably in case if there's a news website, right? And there's somebody who wants to sign up for a newsletter, as a matter of fact, you just need the email ID of that, right? You need not have other information that you need to capture on that aspect. I think the second segment would probably be also making sure that there are opt-out policies provided for the customer as well. So in case if the customers do not want to receive notifications from you, you need not essentially enter into your customer's privacy, right? Just capture whatever is relevant and then provide them whatever is needed basis the information that you have captured. The third is, I think you also need to ensure that there are different compliances out there and privacy audits as well that are done for your business in a specific frequency of time as well, just to make sure that there's no data leakage that is happening at the end of the day, right? And you also need to make your customers aware with respect to what is the retention period of the data on your systems, right? So the customer should be well aware with respect to what exactly are you storing. It should be transparent and should also be consent oriented, is what my thought is on this. So I think in a nutshell, you need to essentially strike a right balance with respect to personalization and privacy, which would definitely be an ongoing process, Pranay.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. So with this context of this kind of engagement picking up so much these days, right? How can companies effectively measure the success for their customer experience? Because one part is providing this. The second is, when you provide, you consume these experiences. And the third is, how do you keep a check on it? How do you further enhance it, right? So ultimately, the customer experience in the end is going to matter a lot. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I think measuring the customer success, the success of customer experience is definitely top notch in this, right? So wherein you need to identify what channel is behaving the best way. as a matter of fact, right? As I pointed out earlier as well, you need to identify first, you need to do a thorough study of your customer journey and the channels of your customers' preference first and foremost. And then essentially you need to run out a typical, the standard benchmark KPIs, essentially ensuring that the CSAT score is in place, the NPS score is in place, the customer effort score has to be minimum on a particular channel in case if you want to evaluate that the channel adoption is at top notch. You need to evaluate conversion rates with respect to each of these channels, the turnaround time, the first response time across these channels, right? You also need to identify essentially the churn rate that is happening across these channels in case of your customer interaction. Also, I think the most important segment over here is the voice of the customer, right? So you need to identify what exactly is the feedback that is coming in from these channels per se, and what exactly is it that you need to work on in order to make sure that you keep on improvising these channels and make sure that the stickiness to these channels is optimum, and you need to stick to essentially the channels that are promoting the most business for you out there, is what I think.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense, right? So, of course, ultimately the customer experience is going to be mattering in the end, and the next step will be derived out of it. So any thoughts on, how are these steps going to be tailored? Because it's not going to be one solution fitting all. Because the verticals of the industries, they are different, right? The type of audience they target, that's going to be different.
So I think you need to first identify your customer journey first and foremost. Identify what are the channels that your specific customers are behaving like, right? So for example, SMS is one of the channels that is top notch in America, right? But WhatsApp is not that much being used over there. Facebook Messenger is definitely one of the channels that is being used over here, over in northern part of America, but not here. So I think you need to first and foremost identify what exactly are the channels that your customers are trying to reach out to you on. And again, it's an iterative process wherein you need to identify what exactly is the result, has the result been so far on these channels, and then you need to iterate and reiterate essentially the solutions that you have deployed on across these channels as well, right? So that's what I think on this. I would also be very interested with respect to, understanding your thoughts in this. What exactly do you think? What are the key performance indicators that these businesses should essentially focus on in order to ensure that they're on the right track, Pranay?
From my point of view, the primary thing should be the customer feedback. We will have to listen to the customer very closely in terms of the pattern in which, how do they react to such communications. We'll have to look at the patterns in terms of and of course numbers don't lie, right? So data driven numbers in terms of what gets the maximum traction for a business, especially anybody who is in B2C segment, for example, where the volumes are going to be significantly high, because the last thing you want is while you're putting in a lot of efforts to create this experience, you're not getting that kind of traction. Right? You gave an example of SMSs. India has gone through that phase. And only it reached a point where most of the messages were spammed, right? So, and now it's on WhatsApp. I think the trend in terms of for any business, and it could be very specific to a product or it could be very specific to the overall business in terms of what kind of messaging goes to my client, what the feedback is given by the client, and how do I act on that feedback? How closely am I listening to? How quickly am I changing the pattern? Right? It could be specific, it could be occasion specific. So that's very important, right? The other thing is the matrix that we talk about when it comes to the engagement with the client or your prospect market. It's very important to understand what type of clients you're targeting using these channels. You could have 4 or 5 means of communicating and you could have an omni-channel platform in the end. But if your business is not evolving, keeping in mind what the market is throwing back at you, I think then you're only running a very one-sided business in terms of I'll push everything to the market and whatever I get in return, I can accept that. So I think these are the few parameters. You correctly said keeping a close eye on what are you able to retain and what is churning and what is the reason for that churn. And eventually everybody is going to start focusing on how do I bring back the churn customer? And if you're able to do that, I think you're winning the battle in the end. If your churn customers are not eventually coming back to you, there is a lot of room of improvement for you there, right? So we as software providers, CRM providers today look at that very seriously. While we sell to B2B businesses, we look at that very seriously in terms of what happened, how could we make it better. And touchwood, we have a very good rate in terms of getting the clients back eventually. So my 2 cents on that.
Absolutely. Panay, I think you're right on that.
Great. All of this, on the platform side, software side, how it can enable experiences and, ultimately generate more revenue for all of us. There is another buzzword that Shivani also started off with. Everything is now being linked to generative AI and thanks to ChatGPT, etc. Do you think it's going to play a crucial role in this customer journey eventually? And if yes, then because there are so many points being discussed around that, do you think anything so far with whatever all of us have learned and tried to use on the AI piece, something has worked specifically? It could be for a very specific market or a domain. And how do you think business will be able to implement that? Because sustaining that is also an important part, right? It comes at a cost, at an investment.
Absolutely, Panay. So I think before ChatGPT also there were LLMs, right? So and AI has been into existence since very long. Just that I think generative AI is definitely one bit of it, but there are other AI segments as well that have been in the market, and there have been different products that have been developed across it on top of it, right? So I think at Chat 360, what we've observed out there, essentially with interacting with 300 plus businesses that we work with. First and foremost is essentially the chatbots and the virtual assistant, right? So, I mean, the natural language processing and the industry-specific generative AI that we have deployed for businesses out there, be it for automotive sector, medical sector, etc., etc. The stickiness of the customer essentially increases, and especially with the chatbot being available 24/7, you are able to convert more with respect to by deploying the chatbot, right? So one of the examples that we've been working with one of the groups in Australia, the Lumino Group, it's a dental chain. So they import a lot of clinicians across the globe. So probably clinicians from the UK, a few of them from Singapore, etc., right? So you see there are a lot of time zones that they work in. So before we deployed the solution for them, the sole customer support that they used to provide was essentially via the call center support, wherein they were not able to revert back to the customers well in time because they were used to work across different time zones, right? The queries were coming in across different time zones. So that is exactly where the chatbot helped, especially the generative AI bit on that. So we deployed an omnichannel generative AI solution to them, wherein clinicians across the globe could ask all the questions. The chatbot was available 24/7. It was seen that most of the questions were essentially answered, like 80% of the queries were essentially resolved by the chatbot. And then, of course, remaining for the 20% of it, any of the human touch, whatever queries were needed, were forwarded back to the agents on the backend side, probably via the omni-channel solution that we have on the mobile application or the desktop application, and also via the emails as well, right? So that is one of the examples that I would like to quote. I think besides this as well, there are a lot of other AI bits as well that the businesses are using. The other segments are essentially recommendation engine, right? So basis a lot of information that is present with the businesses, they crunch it, and then there can be predictive, essentially solutions that can be provided to the customers, right, and your prospects as well. So there can be predictive analytics with respect to what exactly is the forecasting the customer behavior, and there can also be churn rate prediction as well, basis the customer journey or the purchases that the customer has done, right? Besides this, at Chat 360, we have also developed essentially AI Copilot, which agents can essentially use on the backend side. So a lot of the bigger problem statement for big businesses was essentially training their agents, ensuring that this standard quality that is maintained while interacting with their businesses and opportunities and customers as well. So I think AI Copilot played a significant role over there, wherein their agents could essentially search for any of the queries in the knowledge book that was placed on the backend side in the natural language format that they can do. That could probably be in Mandarin, that could be in English, that could be in Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, etc., etc. And then essentially all the answers were provided by the AI, and those answers could essentially be just forwarded by the agents. They could edit it and then they forward it to the customers as well. So that is one of the generative AI solutions that we have deployed. Besides this, we also essentially have a marketing AI campaign builder as well. So wherein you could just type in a couple of statements and you could probably create a campaign using the AI as well, right? So we use GPT-4 on the backend side in order to generate the images as well. And then the entire solution, a campaign could be created, and then you can send it across to the customers in a personalized format as well, right? Beside this, I think customer segmentation. A lot of AI is also happening on the customer segmentation bit as well, right? Wherein you could essentially use AI in order to segment the audience basis the customer behavior and the purchases that the customer has done and the geography as well, and then accordingly you can send out personalized campaigns to the customers, and then probably stick them to the conversational AI on the backend side in order to make sure that the stickiness is increased, and you essentially nudge them or push them towards conversion and closures as well. So I think, yes, AI definitely helps and has been helping significantly expediting the customer journey, increasing the customer retention and pushing them to closure, Pranay.
So thank you so much. So makes a lot of sense, right? And I'm sure this is going to evolve further because we are just getting started with AI, and I feel with the start itself, there is a lot yet to be achieved because it's only at an exploratory stage. So as you said, pretty interesting examples in terms of how customer centric, customized AI campaigns to be run. So thanks for sharing those inputs, Shivam.
Yeah. So Pranay, I think I would also like to understand your thought on this, wherein if you could probably help me understand, in case, let's say, considering that the AI and automation are constantly evolving these days, right? So what exactly should the businesses consider to stick around or stay ahead in terms of customer engagement and conversion rate optimization that you've observed in your at your stint in Lead Squared?
Pretty interesting question, Shivam. So we have close to about 2,000 customers now. Okay. And most of the customers have been with us since quite some time. So when we try to understand their perspective in terms of what would they want to achieve, I get a lot of interesting answers in terms of, say, for example, how can a CRM using AI help me improve the productivity of my sales guy?
Yeah.
And that's the most important ask for the day. Eventually, what they're asking is, how can a sales guy close more? How can a CRM enable this guy to do this? So I think data-centric strategy is very important when you want to adopt AI. That is number one, because we see a lot of customers coming to us and asking for a percentage improvement in productivity, for example. My thoughts on that, and we have run a few pilot on these, right? Specifically trying to relate to what you do as a business, right? A lot of customers are asking that my omnichannel communication experience with my clients has to be seamless, very effective, because I'm spending some money on that. And now that all the businesses are pivoting towards, being very cost sensitive, everything is ROI driven, right? So it has to be very personalized. Hence, you need to know the audience very well. So once you have a personalized AI data-centric strategy in terms of, hey, this is the outcome that I want to achieve through this activity, I think only those businesses are going to stay ahead of the game. Say, for example, am I using WhatsApp Converse, WhatsApp to sell more? That's the outcome. I want to sell more. Or do you want to educate the client or a prospect more, which eventually will become your client? If yes, then what is the percentage that you're looking at, right? So surprisingly, we have now started entering into a phase where we discuss these things with clients. So I think it's a very interesting area, very interesting phase where we are at currently, where we want to explore more. The other thing is, in this phase, it's very important that we continuously keep on learning in terms of what we achieve when we are trying to use such AI tools, right? And then measuring it in terms of the output. Say, hey, you know what? We ran this exercise for this campaign, and this is the throughput that we got, this percentage. Or it could be a failure also, that, hey, you know what? I spent X, but my cost per lead went up by 2X. But we know using AI, what do we improvise further? That's what I think. I think, as I said earlier, it's going to be an evolving journey. There is a lot to learn from this. We're still waiting and watching in terms of how technology will evolve around generative AI, because the name itself says it's going to keep on generating more and more self-learning content based on what we do using a CRM or a Chat 360 platform like yours. So yeah.
Super. Thank you very much for your thoughts on this, Pranay.
So far we've been talking a lot about what are the possibilities, a few of the success stories, what do we keep in mind, etc. Do you have any experiences where the customer might have used any of these strategies and it wouldn't have worked? Of course, with the strategy of you try something, you fail, you fix it, and then you move ahead. Or personalized AI-driven automation is increasing the conversion rate. So how do you think the clients will be able to avoid these pitfalls?
Yeah. So I think, to be very honest, businesses definitely feel challenges while implementing these solutions, right? Especially the omnichannel AI solutions. A lot of times, what I've seen why they're not able to implement these solutions with a proper output is essentially lack of clear strategy. Right. So I think you first and foremost, businesses need to have a clear-cut strategy that what exactly do you want to achieve by implementing the solution, right? Which essentially leads to your scattered efforts and inconsistent customer responses and experiences as well, ending up wasting your resources, to be very honest, right? So essentially, you need to develop a comprehensive strategy, and also you need to have your KPIs, clear-cut objectives, target audience, channels, etc., in order to make sure that your goals are aligned with the implementation. First and foremost, right? I think the second scenario that I've noticed in this is that the inadequate data quality or data in order to support the AI that is implemented out there as well, right? So you need to have proper and relevant data that you're feeding into the AI in order to ensure that you're getting relevant output from the AI as well, right? That is the second scenario. The third is essentially people and the businesses. What I've observed is also might tend to fall apart while implementing this solution because they do not do customer experience testing, right? So one of the important crucial aspects over here is essentially ensuring that you do thorough customer experience testing as well while implementing the solutions, so that you get a feeler of what exactly the customers would behave like, right? And what exactly is the experience, right? Besides this, I think essentially it is missing on the voice, not taking a note of the voice of the customers as well, right? So essentially, there has to be a feedback mechanism that you need to establish because AI is also a significant part of AI. Essentially, is getting the feedback from the users of it, and then feeding it back to the AI engine in order to make sure that the responses are getting optimized and you are also reaching higher efficacy and efficiency as well, right? Also, I think one of the few cases that we've been observing is that you also need to implement a human touch and support as well, right, for closures. So for example, in case if you're selling out a premium product for that matter, right, which definitely requires a personal touch, you need to make sure that you are also available after a certain point in case if there's some requirement from the customers or the prospects in order to make sure you answer those questions and then nurture them probably towards conversion. Right. So there has to be a live agent support or probably a human touch that is involved on the backend side besides the AI segment as well. So I think with respect to summary, a successful implementation of the solution would only happen in case if you are clear with the objectives, you strategize it properly, and you make sure that these common mistakes are avoided with a thoughtful implementation of these strategies. Is what I think, Pranay.
Makes a lot of sense. So basically, you're saying adopt and evolve, right? That should be the mantra in terms of making any AI implementation successful.
Yeah,
good insights, right? Any specific strategy that your company has implemented and you have noticed any significant conversion increase around this?
I should be asking that question to you as well, I think, but of course I'll take it up first. So I think one of the strategies that we've implemented essentially is a free trial strategy, right? So wherein we essentially at a set of, so let's say we have 100 features that we offer to the customer, we have made a subset of it, and we offer a few features under the free trial version of it. We ensure that the customers are onboarded properly and ensure we keep a data-driven approach to that, analyze what exactly are the customer's touch points, etc. And after that, we also make sure that there are proper study material, tutorials that are available for the customer in order to make sure that they use the product as well. Right. So once that is done, we provide them and nudge them with respect to the features and functionalities that they've been using, and make sure that they're handholded in order to get them converted after they've utilized the product with a fruitful outcome. That's what we have been observing, Pranay, at Sharp360. What about you guys?
Got it. So yeah, we don't have any free trials, right? So we've been in the industry enough to kind of now understand that for any successful SaaS platform, be it CRM or anything else, I think what is more important is, as a software provider, we understand our client's business. That's the primary motto we run by. Second is, if you are selling a CRM, for example, if their sales team is using, we would want to understand what would they want to achieve in the end if they want to use a CRM. And keeping in mind the user experience is also very important for us. So while the business leaders would want to achieve primarily around ROI and revenue, it's the user in the end who's going to deliver that, and the user experience then becomes very important around adoption. So what we do is, during our implementation, we keep these three things in mind, and our implementation strategy is very specific to this. So the adoption invariably by the end of the implementation is significantly higher. With AI coming into the picture of lately, I think we are trying to keep the same thing in mind. As you correctly said, the implementation of AI is going to be very important, and the user is going to be, relatively newer to this concept. So we don't want to complicate that piece for an end user in the end. Otherwise, it's easier not to use a system. And a software, if not used, is as good as pen and paper, right? So
Yeah.
That's what we keep in mind. And I think we have also very quickly evolved in the past 6 to 9 months. And the trend that we are seeing in terms of asking now, volumes is no longer a game for anyone. So it's quality over quantity for everyone. I'm sure you also would see the same trend.
Absolutely.
So we were quick to adopt to that. And of course, the evolution of product also has to happen. As we discussed earlier, right? Listening to the client, making those changes or provisioning those requirements in the form of either a service or a customized product becomes very important. So these are the few things I think we are, very closely watching and trying to introduce in the market. And at whatever level we have done so far, it's working well. Just wanted to share one example, right? An experience with one of our clients. We were having a discussion, a C-level discussion, and I asked the CEO a question that, what do you see the future state of selling with generative AI and so many tools coming into the picture? So one is, he was very clear that he wants a single platform for everything. Second is the type of product they sell, without naming any details about it. The future he saw was 99% of the sales should be happening through communication channels like WhatsApp, as an example. And you brought this topic up earlier, right? That 1% is the human touch. Say, for example, I have two types of products. One is a very common and a normal product, which is a low ticket item. So I wouldn't think twice before buying it, say, through a WhatsApp. And the second one is a little premium. So in the end, when I'm about to make a purchase, and for me to seal the deal, I might call that prospect, give a human touch and give them the confidence and close the deal. But the idea that, 99% of the sales is happening through communication medium itself with very less human intervention is like, wow, right? That's how he saw the future state of selling. And that was a thought for us to think on how do we bring it practically on a CRM, because ultimately as a seller, I'm still going to be there. And a prospect is going to be engaging with me or AI, one part of it, and then human touch, and then a voice call. So that's the direction typically we are getting into, looks like, right? So
I think it's very apt that you mentioned, and I think both of our experiences also concur on that front, because I think that's exactly what is happening out there in the market right now.
True.
Super, yeah. All right, sure. So one of the questions that I had, Pranay, was that with respect to CRO, what exactly are the latest technologies, or probably any technologies that you guys have been using at Lead Squared, or you recommend businesses to be using it, and how do businesses essentially adapt these technologies and make sure that they are at least at par with the competition, and they're in fact way ahead of the competition as well?
Yeah, so see, in the past 18 months at least, or almost 2 years now that I've been engaged with Lead Squared, I've seen this evolving a lot, especially in the past 8 to 10 months. When I started my stint, the clients typically asked for, give me a system which is easy to use, keeping in mind the end user, and leave the output to me. Because how efficiently I use the CRM it will yield the output.
Correct.
That has changed now completely. People want, while they want the ease of use for the end users, they want technology to drive the agent, and say, if I can make that agent more 40% more productive,
Mhm.
right? If he's able to sell 3 or 4 more deals in a day through system, then I've achieved my targets, right? Because you don't have to hire more people for that sake.
Yeah.
While there will be a human touch, of course, there's no taking away the human angle from all of this. Now, the question that I ask is, at what cost, right? Because everything comes at a cost. Uh, that's for a separate discussion, because then it comes to how much am I charging my client, etc., for this, because it's a value-driven service that we provide. But apart from the CRM, there are a lot of peripheral services we provide. For example, you would know it better than me in terms of the chatbot services that are coming into the picture these days. 99% of my clients ask for this. Even in the industries where we did not think they would want to use something like a chatbot,
Yeah.
when we tell them that this is the use case, they become very excited around it.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about to the end seller. I'm also talking about using chatbot for my internal communications, or with my dealers and retailers and people who help me in selling more. So that's the evolution that we are seeing in terms of the clients or the prospects that keep on asking us time and again in terms of, hey, you know what, you are in the SaaS area, you are the ones who have built this platform. What is it that you're doing next? And all that we ask them is, what would you want to achieve in the end through this? I have gone ahead and asked CROs in terms of, what are your targets for this year? You let me know that, and then let's do a backward calculation, and I'll tell you, and then I'll give you a pricing based on that, right? So what is more exciting than being a part of, or a partner to a client in terms of helping them achieve their targets? I mean, that's what a sales CRM is supposed to do in the end, right? So I think, yeah, these are a few experiences, and this is what we are typically hearing from CROs and CSOs in the market.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think chatbot definitely is a must-have. What we have experienced with the prospects and communications that we've been doing in the businesses as well. First and foremost, I think the importance over there comes with respect to making sure that you are available for the customer whenever the query is raised. Super important, right? Because if you do not do that at the right time, your customer is gone. They'll start evaluating other options, and then they're gone, right? Absolutely. So you have to be 24/7 available, and the responses have to be very much human centric, right? They cannot be robotic outcomes that you are expecting from the chatbot, and they also have to be data driven. So essentially, the chatbots essentially need to delve deeper into the knowledge base, provide relevant answers to the customers, making sure that they're satisfied first and foremost. So that's what we've been thinking, and quite a few use cases that we have been solving out there, starting from let's say capturing the lead nurturing, and then eventually extending to a few of our customers, wherein we are also essentially working with a few customers, working on internal chatbots, wherein we are helping them with their HR use cases, right? Probably people asking their available leaves for that matter, their pay slips on the chatbot that can essentially be deployed in their internal chatbots, right? Or probably asking the output of a particular mine or a unit, as a matter of fact, that is essentially developed for the CXO level or the manager level folks as well. So interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's enough room for enough.
I would be hearing these use cases for the first time. I mean, I could only imagine for people like us also, most of the things getting or rather things being handy with AI coming into the picture, and getting things done with the help of a chat itself, and not waiting for a callback or trying to reach out to somebody. But one interesting point also you shared is being available for the client. I personally foresee the future of all of us, people like us, is providing these kind of services by building that level of product where the human engagement or the support engagement is very, very minimum. I mean, the product that you provide should help our clients in the end to serve what we are selling.
Yeah.
And that's a future state, right? So that'll take probably some time to reach over there, but
Yeah.
pretty interesting insights.
Yeah, I think it's a combination and making sure that you set the expectations right, Pranay, right? So,
Right.
especially in case if you're able to, let's say, cut down your call center support headcount or automating the most frequently asked queries by 70 to 80%, you have already done the job, to be very honest. Then I think the remaining part is essentially making sure that the efficiency is increased slowly and steadily, right?
True.
So you have to be pragmatic with respect to your expectations and what exactly is it that you're helping solve the purpose on the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Super.
Makes sense. I think pretty insightful discussion over here. Any other questions? I think there are a lot of questions coming in on the chats.
I have not been looking at it actually. Yeah.
Shivani, do you want to kind of help us with that?
So while I sift through the questions on chat, I will just pick up stuff that has already come in prior to the session, and there were like 30 of them, but I'm just going to pinpoint maybe some of the areas that we have not touched upon during the discussion. So one of those questions was about protecting data. So what the question reads: what preemptive measures and tools are needed to protect our data? Because obviously we're talking about omni-channel marketing, we're talking about conversations, communication. What are some of the ways maybe you all are helping, we are helping customers, ensure that their data is safe and secure?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think at Chat 360 we have different customers with their different expectations. Data privacy and concern and security is essentially top notch, as a matter of fact, right? How do we do that is essentially we offer different solutions to the customers, right? So starting from essentially making sure that the database that is present at our side is encrypted at rest, first and foremost, making sure that it is not accessible to everybody for that matter. The second segment is essentially also making sure that we go to take an extra mile with respect to making the deployments on-prem as well. So in case of higher end security scenarios, we go to an extent of deploying it on-prem as well, with respect to and it totally depends upon the expectation of the customers with respect to data and privacy concerns. Then again, I mean, there are different audits and compliance and security scenarios that have to be practiced. So at Chat 360, we are ISO 27001 certified, we are SOC 2 certified, which are the industry benchmarks with respect to privacy and security scenarios. And the most important section over here is essentially storing only what is required, right? So we make sure, and we also recommend our customers that store the data, the optimum data, whatever is required, in order to make sure that you are using it sanely in order to provide recommendations to the customers and provide them a personalized approach to the customers. That's what we've been thinking and doing at Chat 360, Shibani.
Thank you, Shivam. Pranay?
I think most of the SaaS companies, especially who host clients' data, have to be compliant in terms of a lot of compliances, right? So, as Shivam already said, there are a few standard compliances we have to meet. The practices remain pretty much the same. I think the larger question is, with AI coming into the picture, what extra do we follow on that front? Because if not now, eventually this question will come. How are you making sure that AI is not exposing my data somewhere else? So I think we'll all have to eventually learn in terms of at what level do we expose this data. For example, whatever AI initiatives we have started with our clients, the first we had to win their trust in terms of how their data is going to be used, and we were able to successfully do that. And with the normal regulatory norms coming into the picture, say, we work with a lot of banks, for example, so we are compliant to a level where we have met all the security norms for an RBI of India, for example, right? So similarly, we do business in US on the healthcare side. So I'm sure now that we have clients, we have met the compliance regulatory terms that are needed over there. And it goes with every industry, right? In India, we have a large presence in EdTech, for example. So EdTech saw its own evolution eventually. And there are data protection laws in picture, where do we host it, etc., etc. Not only from as a vendor, but also the clients are now very interested on a user at what level of data gets exposed to them, right? So data masking is there, data exposure limitation is there. You cannot download, you can only see certain data, you can only view. So all of these provisions are of course there in Lead Squared. That gives a lot of confidence to our clients in terms of my data is secured with Lead Squared. So with AI coming into the picture, let's wait and watch, Shivani, to be very frank, how it evolves over a
Yeah.
period of time.
But I think with AI coming into picture as well, Pranay, there are solutions that we have deployed for the customers which are on-prem clearly, right? So I mean, making sure that the data is not exposed to OpenAI or Llama for that matter, right? So we have on-prem deployments as well, such as Falcon, etc., etc. We have in-house LLMs that we've been developing and working upon. So I think that is something that we've already achieved, because that was definitely one of the top-notch requirements from the banking customers that we work with as well. Right? So with respect to security and compliances, I think and especially with in the AI segment, I think we are already evolving, and solutions are there in place. Wherein, and of course, it will always be ever evolving as well, in order to make sure that the data is secure and compliant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. The next question, and of course, I know this answer. So we are obviously talking about engagement on different platforms. So is there a way to get a single view of all customer interactions?
Yeah. So at Chat360, we have an Omnichannel desk, essentially, which is present on the desktop or the cloud version, or we also support our mobile application, which can be installed on iOS and Android devices, wherein there's all the conversations that are coming in from different customers or the prospects of yours get listed over there. And then we also have role-based systems wherein, depending upon the role of a particular login or the user, relevant conversations are shown to the customers as well. So yes, I mean, it is definitely a must and a solution that we provide to the businesses out there. It is available.
And of course, in Lead Squad, similar to what Shivam said, we have something called as Customer 360 with us. So right from the journey of somebody showing an interest in anything, right, to it becoming a prospect, to a lead, and then a customer, and post becoming a customer, to the entire nurturing piece, or the customer being an active customer and sharing some insights and thoughts or raising a tickets. So we've recently launched our Service Cloud, which primarily takes care of the post-sales journey for our clients. So we have something very similar called as Customer 360 already available with us. There's a lot of clients already using it, and it typically helps you in not only retaining your clients but also cross-selling and upselling. So yeah, Shivani, I think Customer 360 is that's what Shivam and I also were discussing, right? How do you cater to your existing clients and make sure your churn is very less? I think this is an important tool that is going to help clients also.
Yeah. I would also like to mention one of the recent launches that we have done the last month, Shivani and Pranay, to the audience, wherein we've also launched the social listening tool, wherein customers can essentially, now the businesses can essentially listen to the sentiments and the comments that are being posted by the customers on their business pages on Facebook, Instagram, or Google My Business as well. They get a record of what exactly is the sentiment of the customer posts, their interest of it, so that there's this common channel besides the messaging channels as well, in order to make sure that we have a common platform which gives you a glimpse of the entire conversations that are happening across different channels as a business for you. So I think it should definitely help, because that was one of the asks from our customers as well. A lot of customers were asking for this, and we essentially at Chat360 firmly believe that we develop a solution, we evolve it basis the customer feedback and solution suggestions. So we've been developing that, and this was definitely one of the requirements which we have recently released.
Excellent. Okay. Just a quick note to the audience who's still here. I did see questions coming in for those in the lending space, questions on healthcare, for instance. How can WhatsApp be leveraged to deliver higher debt collections, right? So some of these questions I'll point out straight away that we will not address now. We will have our team members send you an email in person and share a detailed version of how you can leverage omni-channel marketing. So please look out for emails from our side. In the meantime, I will move on to the next question, which was about implementing these solutions. What are the things to keep in mind before you implement a CRM or a chatbot solution? And also timelines. What timelines are we looking at? If, let's say, someone were to buy the product today, what sort of timelines are we looking at to really get the ball rolling?
Yeah, so I'll start, Shivam. So what are the things you need to keep in mind is if you have a business and if you have a product to sell, you need a CRM, right? That's all you need to have. Second question was, what was the second question, Shivani? If you could just reiterate.
What you need to keep in mind and what sort of timelines are we looking at?
So it depends upon the use case and what level of implementation we are doing, right? How big is the scale? It could be as small as I've done implementations myself as short as 15 days. And it could be as big as, say, a 3-month implementation if you are introducing a CRM across a company which has thousands of users in the end, right? So, Lead Squared specifically, I can tell you is the implementation is relatively easier and seamless because we do it in house primarily, right? So we have a skin in the game when we are doing the implementation. So that also makes us stand apart from the rest of the CRM providers. And as I said earlier in one of these questions that Shivam has asked, the implementation is usually around the business and the outcome that our clients want to achieve. So that helps the clients also achieve what they want by using a CRM in the end. I hope that answers. Shivam, your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think with chatbot, it definitely I concur with you on this, Pranay. It totally depends upon the use case first and foremost, right? In case if you're talking about essentially not doing deeper integrations with your CRM or just having a standalone, let's say, no paper solution that you want, probably just for the sign up or lead capturing scenarios, hosting a QR code at your physical centers, it should hardly take 5 minutes, to be very honest. Ours is a DIY builder wherein you drag and drop, make steps, design it out of the box, probably get your website put in. The bot would be trained essentially on by scrapping the data from your website, and people can ask questions around it. Super easy, hardly 5 minutes. But in case if you're talking about, let's say, doing deeper integrations with your CRM on the backend side, your HRMS on the backend side, things like that, then it totally depends upon the use case specific. What are the APIs that we are catering to? What are the use cases that we are catering? How long is it going to take in order to develop the APIs, doing deeper integrations, so on and so forth, right? So it might range, but at Chat 360, we've been specialized at essentially implementing the solutions real quick. We are a very aggressive and agile team in order to make sure that we take that extra mile in order to make sure that we abstract the work at our end and just get the work done. So totally depends upon the use case, Shivani, again. And yes, but we definitely have been doing implementations real quick.
Sorry, Shivani. Jitesh seems to be asking, and I know you have responded to him, but I just wanted to say yes to his answer. Can we integrate AI chatbot with WhatsApp? Yes. We will share more details with you because it's a little longer conversation. I want to keep in mind that we have limited time around this. So back to you, Shivani.
Sure. I'll take a moment now to address some of the marketing questions that came in, because there were quite a few on that. So I would probably there is no best subject line or there is no best message to send out. It really depends on your audience and the channel you're using. But from my experience, I'll probably point out straight away and say, for example, LinkedIn doesn't work for higher education, not in the sense that I have seen. However, for BFSI, yes. Okay. Then, whereas I have seen WhatsApp work well for those in the healthcare space. So, if you have questions, maybe you want to just elaborate on that and specify what is the industry, who you targeting, what is your target audience, and we will come back to you again, if not now, but over email for sure, about exactly what are some of the channels you can use, and at least in our experience what has worked. Because you see, we are doing marketing for so many industries, so we have seen certain trends work better compared to others. So if you could elaborate exactly on the audience you're targeting and the industry, and we'll come back to you with the best channel that might work in our experience at least. Now I will move on to the next question. Oh, okay. So Pranay, this is for you. I would like to see what role Lead Squared can play in all this. What is your response to that?
In all this, in all this is to the context of the conversation. So I think Lead Squared is the answer to all of this, right? Right from, say, running your marketing prospecting campaigns, generating leads, nurturing a lead, taking it to prospect, into a sales stage, converting a lead into a client. Once you have onboarded the prospect as a client, servicing the client, post servicing, how do you cross sell and upsell a client? Everything can be done on Lead Squared seamlessly. So it's a perfect example of being an omnichannel CRM, if I have to put it like that. You can integrate it with all third-party service providers out there. You can customize our ERP in a lot of ways. So that way, it's very user friendly. In fact, we have a few customers who do everything on LeadSquared by their own. Right? We have provision for that also. And that is the reason why a lot of clients like LeadSquared because of the flexibility that it gives. So I think at a surface level, that is what LeadSquared would be able to provide.
Awesome, thank you. I see, Shivam, you've already got a hang of the chat and you are already answering questions. Maybe you want to elaborate on that in the sense that what are some of the other platforms that Chat 360 could have integrations with other than Microsoft ERP?
Yeah, so I mean, we are quite flexible, and we can essentially integrate with any of the softwares out there till the time they provide open APIs in order to do deeper integrations. The fantastic solution that we have deployed with LeadSquared and Chat 360 is being already used by a lot of customers at various scales, starting from small to big scales as well. We can easily integrate with, as I mentioned, any CRM for that matter, which provides the APIs out there. We have native connectors for solutions out there, be it Salesforce or other solutions as well. But we, of course, I mean, the solutions with LeadSquared we have at a much more and at a better depth as compared to that we offer with Salesforce and Microsoft at this point of time.
Good to know. I know, of course, but okay. I'm just trying to see if we have missed any. How can we connect yeah, okay. Jitesh has asked the golden question that everybody has been waiting for. I think he wants to know how to connect LeadSquared and Chat 360. So someone for sure from both the teams will be reaching out to you, Jitesh. Yeah. Okay, I think we can wrap it up. I don't see anything more that we haven't covered, because largely even through your discussion we had covered a lot of the points. So maybe I think any closing statements from you, Shivam and Pranay, and what you see is going to be the future of AI, if I could put it that way. Shivam, if you want to go first.
See, I think as I pointed out, with ChatGPT coming into picture and picking up the buzz, every business for that matter now knows that there's definitely a must-have chatbot solution that needs to be deployed in order to cater or interact with your customers first and foremost. It essentially helps you across with so many use cases, right? I can go on, and I mean the list would be endless, to be very honest. The important strategy over here is in order to reach out to your customer with an omni-channel approach first and foremost. So I'm sure that there'll be other AI advancements as well that will be coming in slowly and steadily with GPT-4 out there. There'll be GPT-5 as well coming down the line. But the advantage over here will be I think with respect to adopting these technologies, how fast do you adopt these technologies, and how quickly can you implement these strategies in order to reach out to your businesses super importantly, right? So I think that is what the motto that we follow at Chat 360 primarily, and we make sure that we have the latest integrations in place so that the businesses who are associated with us get started with it from day zero. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Shivam. Pranay?
I think the AI journey is going to be very interesting, especially with the asks from our clients that we have. Of course, it's going to keep on evolving. And as Shivam said, the adoption of it is very important. Post the adoption, how it evolves, and after the evolution, how you adopt to it again. That cycle is going to be very important. And I think people like Shivam and I, what we provide in our niche area are the ones who are going to help our clients do the adoption right in the end and achieve the business outcomes. ChatGPT is playing a big role. I think look at students these days using ChatGPT already. These are going to be next inline users for us, probably clients for us, right, Shivam? So I think the client getting more educated on the AI and coming to us when we provide these as a part of our software or solution is going to be a very interesting era to watch. That's my 2 cents on where this is going and what to expect.
Awesome. Thank you. I think we've had a great end to a very comprehensive discussion. Thank you so much for giving us your time, Pranay and Shivam. Again, lots of questions have come in. We just can't answer all of them. We will definitely respond to you over email very soon. So look out for that. I think Shivam, Pranay, you shared some great insights. So look out for our little bits of wisdom on social media that have come from you today. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much again to the audience. You've been a wonderful audience, kept us on our toes with your questions. Okay, with that, thank you everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
everyone. Thank you,
Yes,
Shivani.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhani. Thank you, Pranay.
Bye.
Bye.